all things unexplained. Hosted by Dr. Mounts.
Let's face it, we were always ready to roll without him anyway.
CJ Derringer.
Ain't nobody perfect, right?
And Smitty Neebs.
I've never planned out hardly anything my whole life. I just freeball.
Featuring Cajun Man.
I'm just old nobody, somebody looking for somebody.
CJ, our next story that I've got to give a shout out to a former Facebook Live guest of the show. He'll be on our upcoming podcast very soon. Outdoorsman, adventure man of many tales, Dane Beck from Montana. So this next story comes straight out of Montana. Headline, and by the way, this was in Redgate, Montana, which I don't know a lot about Redgate, but apparently it is the epicenter of paranormal activity in Montana.
Oh, really?
You want to see UFOs? Go to Redgate. You want to see Bigfoots? Go to Redgate. You want to see some, transmutation of things from one place to another? Go to Redgate. Unexplained lights? Go to Redgate. You get the picture. So headline, Redgate, Montana. Naked alien photographed in Montana. And I just so happened to have the photograph. I have obtained the photograph. This photograph
what am I about to see?
was taken by captured on trail cam now by Donald Bromley. He had a trail cam in a remote part of Montana. It's kind of known for being a UFO hotspot, and some suspect this is a naked alien. Here we go. Naked aliens, folks. If your kids are still awake right now, they should be in bed. Let's put their kitties away. If you're listening to us on Apple, wherever you listen to podcasts, I'll just let CJ describe what she's about to see.
Oh gosh, great. What? Okay, all right. I could see that as a naked alien. Yeah. Whoa, that is trippy. So this was caught on somebody's nature cam?
Trail cam, that's right. So
Trail cam.
one thing people have pointed out is the large bulbous head.
Yeah, large head. I'm not sure what's happening in the abdomen.
They also point out you could tell it has no clothes and it's kind of a transparent being.
Yeah, it does look transparent. It doesn't seem to have a typical facial profile. I mean, maybe a really flat nose, no hair. Yeah.
Right.
Weird.
So one thing Bromley noted, that's the man whose trail cam captured this image of a naked, bulbous-headed, transparent being, apparently. He noted that this spot is miles to get there. You probably have to drop 1,000 feet in elevation just to get to that point. So he said it's unrealistic that a random person would happen to be passing through the location. Additionally, he indicated that none of his other cameras captured the visitor, making the photo all the more mysterious.
That's
this is in
creepy.
Redgate, Montana.
I'd be pretty creeped out if I caught that on cameras.
So you know what it makes me think of, though? And all jokes aside, who knows what it is? But in the recent government UFO disclosure report, right? I think they identified 144 cases. I believe it's 144. Only one of them was explained. This was all in the last couple of years, right? Only one was explained. All the rest were unexplained.
Really?
Aerial phenomenon. Okay. That, by the way, they said is not a foreign adversary. They just don't know what it is, which is a pretty shocking revelation. The thing is, this is only a couple of years worth of information.
Right.
What about what happened to the 80s? What happened to the 70s?
They're
What
gone.
happened to ancient
They're
times, to
gone.
biblical reports of UFOs
Right.
in the
It's
skies?
all such a
And
mess.
right. And so this transparent naked alien photo, it brings to mind, hey, Roswell. I'm
Yeah.
reading The Day After Roswell right now, and according to the author, by the way, it was indeed a UFO that crashed. The military already knew about the crash, which is why they were so quickly on the scene, because they were tracking these, picking them up on radar, and they saw an explosion in the sky with the lightning storm, and they were already on their way out there. And the author says, Colonel says, there were bodies. There were alien bodies. One of them was still alive. And so, if you put any stock into that, into this former military colonel, into what he's saying, if you think rationally that these are unidentified objects, 140-something cases in the last 2 years that are not foreign adversaries, but defy the laws of physics, that do things none of our technology can do, then you almost have to logically conclude that something else is out there in control of them, right? So
It's wild.
why not the naked alien in Montana?
He's in control. He's in total control.
Well, if you think that we did uncover alien bodies in Roswell, right, then there's been others.
Oh,
Certainly.
absolutely.
And there's other aliens out there. If you think that we did uncover alien bodies in Roswell, right? And all you got to do, you don't even have to believe anymore. It's just known. There are unidentified aerial phenomenon of advanced technology that we just can't say what it is.
Honestly, if I'm really going to be honest, there's a few people I've met and that I have in my life that could be aliens.
So
I
you're
mean, that I
saying
just can't totally explain their behaviors or their personalities, or something is different.
She's definitely not talking about me or Smitty.
No.
So, Mr. Bromley in Redgate, Montana, hats off to you.
That's great.
I think, who knows what this could be? This could be another great All Things Unexplained investigation if Dane Beck will take us up there.
Are we allowed to post that picture to our social media accounts?
Oh, that's not it. That's the spooky skull. Oh, we can't. Here's one more time. The naked alien. Sure enough, it is some sort of bipedal, transparent,
It's hard to see if there's any arms, but there's some weird object in the middle of the abdomen.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that?
I am. It's hard to explain.
It
could be the hands,
unexplained.
could be the arms. Very unexplained. Could have got impaled on something when it crash landed.
Yeah. I suppose that's true.
But we will put that on our social media, and I may have even shared that story. I'm not sure, but as soon as that story broke, my anonymous brother messaged me right at 2 days, by the way. I shouldn't say as soon as it broke. 2 days after Dane Beck messaged me. I said, Unexplained Brother's really on it here. He's really on the news. 2 days later, he's sending me the story. It's the thought that counts, I guess.
Oh, funny. Absolutely.
But I do want to say, today is January 10th. If you're listening online, we're doing this Facebook Live on January 10th. Today is a holiday, of course, CJ. Speaking of, and this ties, this is a perfect segue from what you just said. It is Peculiar People Day. I'm not even making that up. Peculiar People Day.
Well, there's plenty of them. Plenty of peculiar people.
And they might just be aliens.
All right. Well, there you go. Now we have a day for them.
That's right.
Here's
if you haven't watched
Alien.
They Live with Rowdy Roddy Piper, do yourself a favor. Get some 3D glasses. Track down the 3D version of that movie. Pop it in the VCR.
What?
You won't regret it.
Rowdy, what is it called?
Rowdy Roddy Piper, that's the actor.
Oh.
He's here to chew bubble gum and kick some ass, and he's all out of bubble gum.
That's a great line.
Right before some aliens bite it.
Oh my. Oh gosh. Well, I've got one last unexplained news story to share for the evening. How about yourself?
Just a couple more for you.
Well, I'll go ahead and share mine.
Perfect.
So apparently, there was a nuclear-powered U.S. submarine that was damaged back in 2021.
Sounds familiar. Yes, it was damaged. They didn't say how.
The Navy has finally revealed
Oh,
how it was damaged, or at least what they want us to believe how it was damaged. It has said that the submarine collided with a hidden underwater mountain.
what?
Yeah, hidden underwater mountain. So this was in the South China Sea, and it was the USS Connecticut, a Sea Wolf class fast attack submarine. Gosh, that's a mouthful. Whew. It was on October 2nd that it collided with an unknown object in international waters. This is not the one we talked about, actually. Anyways, it surfaced and it made port in Guam. And then they finally came out and said that seamounts or underwater mountains are remnants of extinct underwater volcanoes. A majority of seamounts are cone-shaped, but some have large flat summits. And apparently, this is what they ran into, an underwater mountain. Who would have thought?
I'm going to call BS on this one. I'm sorry.
I mean, that's what they want us to think anyways, right?
Oh, for sure. We can literally map the surface of Mars,
Right.
but we cannot evade an underwater mountain.
Yeah. So speaking of, it says more than 100,000 seamounts of at least 3,281 feet may dot the ocean floor, but scientists have mapped less than 0.1% of them.
Wow. But we definitely went to the moon. That's
Yep.
just how it works. We have the technology. Well, it does. Again, it ties into the new episode of Ancient Aliens that came out this week, if you haven't seen it. And they do show a lot of the video of the UFO that's being tracked by our military. And all of a sudden, it dives at incredible speed into the water.
Mm.
And of course, we have their stories, the pilot
Right.
stories of getting sucked underwater. Dane Beck told us about UFOs
Yes, that
sucking
was such a
fish
great
out of the water, right?
story.
And that's why I'm not buying it. Submarine hitting an underwater mountain, I don't think so. Get attacked by an underwater swarm
like
of USOs, maybe.
Maybe, yes. Like, how bad is your visibility? I mean, is this was it really? They don't have lights on the front of it. Was it dark? I mean, what's the deal? We don't see the mountain coming.
Right? Don't they operate by sonar, radar,
Yeah,
combo,
something.
FLIR? It
I don't
doesn't make
know.
sense.
No.
Don't they have the little periscope that comes up above it? And somebody's looking in there. Like, I think I see a mountain up there,
Mountain straight ahead.
I just don't know about that. Whatever. But CJ, you and I are both a little bit of health conscious people, right?
I am
We
until
like-
I start eating ice cream and M&Ms, and then it all goes out the window. But for the most part.
They say acai bowls are a gateway drug to ice cream. Well, I think we can both appreciate this story. Headline, January 9th, 2022. Psychic prompts woman's weight loss, possibly saving her life.
Oh.
That's right. A visit to a fortune teller might involve taking a peek into the future of your love life, maybe your financial life, but a woman in England, we always get these wacky stories out of the UK.
I know. These women in England, I
Reportedly-
tell you.
Lucy, maybe she knows some of these folks, reportedly didn't expect what she got from her psychic one day. Advice about her life, period, her life. Rebecca Wilkinson, who struggled with her weight since she was a teenager, hit over 400 pounds at her heaviest. She was depressed, anxious, unhealthy. She tried to lose weight in the past, she said, but the psychic told her, that he saw no life for her on her current path. Do what it takes, he said. Go to the extreme or you will die, he warned. Soon after, Wilkinson took the dramatic step of going to Turkey and having gastric sleeve surgery, which removes part of her stomach. A year later, she's down to 230 pounds and said, life's been amazing ever since.
Wow. Look at that little self-fulfilling prophecy there.
That's right.
I like it.
But I do feel like you don't really have to be a psychic to,
Well,
when the 400-pound person walks in the room, say, you got to get your act together.
Yeah, I'll take your $50. That's what it takes.
That's right. Speaking of which, I just watched the most fascinating video yesterday. Bob Barker was the host, and he used to host some other shows. This was not The Price is Right. This was some sort of psychic contest.
Really?
Yes.
No.
Yes. And so they had a psychic on, and they had a psychic debunker, right? And so they laid out these conditions. The psychic's thing was he could lay like a phone book down on the table, and he could get up to it. He could mentally move the pages with his mind. And I had a video of him doing it. He even did it, basically right there with Bob Barker. But
Yeah.
the debunker had conditions, right? And the psychic agreed, okay, I'll follow the conditions. I'm going to make it happen. By the way, he was going to get paid $10,000 if he did turn the page of the book in front of the debunker. So the debunker did the most amazing thing. Right before the psychic went, he laid out these little styrofoam pieces all around the book. He said, okay, if any puff of wind comes through here, these pieces are going to go everywhere.
Oh.
And the psychic got down there, concentrated. He's like, yeah, I have to turn the lights down. You have to do this. Finally, he's like, no, I can't do it. So what he was doing, he was just barely blowing out of his mouth and turning the pages.
Hey, that's a skill, though. I mean, honestly, I think if we sat here and tried to do that all night long, neither of us would be able to turn a page so convincingly that we could make people believe we were doing it with our mind powers.
No, but I mean, look at what the circus acts can do. They can do amazing things that they've just trained to do over so many years. And so, speaking of peculiar television, a great moment on January 10th, 1984 happened when Clara Peller uttered this phrase on broadcast television.
Oh.
Any guesses? Became pretty famous in 1984. I wish I had some audio of it. I gotta find it, though.
I wasn't around in 1984.
What? Here it is. This is straight out of 1984. Exclusive. Does that make this an exclusive? Clara Peller uttering her.
Okay.
Clara Peller. She's only famous, as far as I know, for this phrase. Let me see if I can get it to play. I still say it sometimes.
It certainly is a big bun. It's a very big bun. Big fluffy bun. It's a very big fluffy bun.
Where's the beef?
Some hamburger places give you a lot less beef on a lot of bun.
Where's the beef?
At Wendy's, we serve a hamburger we modestly call a single. And Wendy's
Where's
has
the
more beef than the Whopper or Big Mac. At Wendy's, you get more beef and less bun.
Oh,
that's what Clara Peller uttered. Where's the beef?
You want
The rest
something
is
better.
history.
You're Wendy's kind of people.
So, CJ, this is an interesting story out of Israel.
I like how you say that.
Thanks. Headline. Scientists train goldfish to drive.
To drive. I saw that one too.
You did. So fish have
Yes.
learned to steer a specially designed vehicle. Israeli searchers have managed to pull off a rather remarkable feat by teaching a goldfish to drive a tiny robotic car. The brainchild of scientists from Ben Gurion University who wondered if an animal's navigational skills were dependent on their environment or if these abilities transcend their setting. To put this thought-provoking question to the test, they created a unique vehicle consisting of a tank of water on wheels with overhead cameras that tracked the movements of a goldfish inside the contraption and then drove in the corresponding direction. It suggests that the way a fish comprehends its
Goldie.
surroundings and navigates with them may be as successful in a terrestrial environment as they are in an aquatic one. So coming soon, to your cul-de-sac. Fish in their cars.
Fish in their cars. Just what every parent needs. Just another fish to take care of, huh?
You think they'll have to be 16 before they get their learner's permits?
What is 16 in fish years? Couple days?
I feel like it's pretty dang old. I think it's pretty old. I mean, the life expectancy of a goldfish is like, what, week and a half?
It's not very long.
Well, I've got one more story for the Unexplained update tonight. I do have a photo that accompanies the story. Where are you? There he is. This is an actual picture of
That's me. That's me in the morning when my kids wake me up.
Headline: Wales. Here we are again, back in the UK. Strangely aggressive squirrel in Wales attacks 18 people in 48 hours.
This still sounds like me. Oh yeah.
So, this bizarre story out of Wales. This squirrel, this mad squirrel, which we can see on our screen live on Facebook Live.
This is the actual squirrel.
This is him. This is the actual squirrel. He embarked on some people were brave enough to get a zoomed in picture. Embarked on a wild reign of terror, wherein a staggering 18 people wound up being bitten by the suddenly pugnacious creature over the course of just 2 days. Wow. It occurred in the town of Buckley, actually, where resident Corrine Reynolds had taken to feeding a gray squirrel that visited her backyard. Oh, such a bad idea. What began as a wholesome friendship soon turned troubling when the animal nipped at her finger. Taking to a local Facebook group to warn others about the critter's aggressive behavior, Reynolds was stunned to find out that the squirrel had actually been tormenting the community and had attacked 18 people in the last 2 days.
Oh, man.
What a squirrely story.
They don't get rabies, right?
I don't think so. I think they just get annoying. They literally ate my son's soccer goal.
Oh my gosh, that's impressive.
They ate my vehicle's gas line.
Those darn squirrels.
Maybe he copped a boat here.
Tell me you've read those books, those children's books to your kids.
Those darn squirrels?
Yes.
No, never heard of those.
Oh my gosh, you haven't read those darn squirrels?
Gotta check that out.
These are the best books. It's about old man Fuquire. Yes, he lives by himself and he eats his cottage cheese with pepper and he doesn't want to be bothered, but those darn squirrels are always up in his business. Oh, these are some fantastic books. Yeah, you're going to need to get those for the kiddies.
Well, ever since that squirrel ate my gas line, I had to buy an entire new gas tank for my vehicle.
Jeepers.
Not sure I want to see them in the children's stories, but, it's just like I told some Bigfoot author guest of ours, some Bigfoot experts, the most dubious Bigfoot sign, and, the amazing Donna Campbell Smith, she wrote an article about top 10 ways to know you have a Bigfoot. So shout out to Donna Campbell Smith, author of My Neighbors from the Woods, North Carolina resident, just like CJ and myself. So she wrote an article, I think it was top 10 ways to know you have a Bigfoot. Donna, I'm sorry if I said the name of that wrong. And I told her, one of the most dubious Bigfoot evidence to me is when they put something up in a tree, real high, and they come back the next day and it's gone. I said, well, that thing was 15 foot high. Nothing could have reached that except an 8.5 foot tall Bigfoot. Yeah. Look, I've seen squirrels get to literally everything.
They can really fly. I mean, gosh, it's fun to watch them when they do get crazy and they're leaping from limb to limb. Goodness, I want those skills. Need me
There's
some
literally nothing
squirrel
they can't
skills in
get
my
to.
next life. No,
There's nothing they won't eat.
Right. That's why you got to read the book, Those Darn Squirrels, because it's hysterical what they get to. It's so darn funny.
My mechanic told me they enjoy the taste of rubber hoses and gasoline. So you think they're not going to eat an apple with some peanut butter up in the tree? Come on.
Right.
Those darn squirrels. Hey, I think I know
Harley.
my next book now. A little combo of Bigfoot action and those darn squirrels.
There you go. See what they
Friends
can
in
get out of
nature.
the tree. Yes.
Or
Friends in
frenemies.
nature.
Frenemies
That's
in
a good
nature.
title for it. What's
Now,
that?
I will tell you
Friends?
one thing squirrels do not do. They do
Dance.
not gift. They
Oh,
do
no.
dance. They do not gift. So I do credit that with being a Sasquatch sign.
Not according to Those Darn Squirrels.
Well,
It is seriously the best. You've got to check it out.
I will check that out.
Yeah.
Well, CJ, I've enjoyed another Unexplained update. I need to go
Yes,
see how
it's
bad
been
the SEC is
lovely.
winning right now, I think.
Oof. Well, exciting stuff.
Sorry, George. Happy Peculiar People's Day, CJ.
Yes, happy Peculiar People's Day. And again, thank you to those that have sent us some money on Patreon or Venmo at Bigfoot UFO. That's under the business accounts. I had a little bit of a tricky time finding that the first time. Or at buymeacoffee.com/unexplained. Also, a thank you to Stephen and Marissa for my lovely All Things Unexplained sign. I feel like I could hold it in the video here. How do I? Super
It's
fun.
amazing.
Yes, it is.
Shout out to all our podcast friends in the industry. I don't want to start naming them. I think I'll miss some of them, but I will name a few. Twisted Teachers, the sad and pitiful podcast. I butchered their name all wrong. Within the Mist podcast. Todd and Karen, Norwegian Pop Group. They're going to be on the show soon. Shout out to all those folks. We appreciate y'all. Give them a listen.
Absolutely. All right. Until next time.
Oh, hold on, CJ.
Oh,
Hey,
snap.
speaking of Twisted Teachers,
Ah,
there we go. Kimberly Eversole, thank you, of Twisted Teacher fame. Look at there. I just happened to do the shout out and they were listening.
Well, perfect.
I
It
had
was
no
meant to
idea.
be.
But they're actually coming on the show with us in May to do
I know.
our
I'm so
top,
excited. Lots of teacher
our-
stories to tell.
yes, our
Oh,
favorite teacher stories and favorite teacher movies and shows.
Movies and shows. Yeah.
But it can also be summer movies and shows because, as the best advice I ever got,
I feel like there's a ton of shows that feature teachers.
Well, like I told the Twisted Teachers, I was told day one, top 3 reasons going to teaching, May, June, July. So I think it's highly appropriate to do a teacher summer send-off. Let's hope we don't have to ride the city buses to get there.
There is no May, June, and July anymore. Everybody has to pick up a second job to afford to be a teacher.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Or a
shame.
bus driver or a cafeteria worker.
All of it.
I can't even get into my own family's current educational crisis. I can't count down to spring break. That's right. My own family's crisis with education administration and other jobs.
Yeah.
Countdown to spring break is on. That's right. Could do some spring break movies.
See, now I have kids. I don't want their spring break. I don't want their Christmas break. I don't want their summer break. I don't want their spring break. Let's just send them to school all the time.
It's
and
so
pay our
true.
teachers for it.
You know what? Summer vacation, Christmas vacation, spring break, those were the bomb as a teacher.
So much fun.
Before I had
And as a
kids.
kid. Yeah.
And now?
Forget it now. Forget
it ain't what it's cracked up to be. I promise you that.
I remember it being pretty great when I was a child, but yeah. having
You
children.
recently asked me if my son was going to Christmas camp. I'm like, where are these Christmas camps? The North Pole? Do I send him to see Saint Nick?
Anywhere. I'm sure that somebody was doing a camp somewhere. You got to capitalize on that.
But we can't
Sure.
wait to have the Twisted Teachers on with us.
Yes.
That is going to be one fun episode. CJ, I don't know if they know, but you were an elementary school teacher.
Yes. Yep.
Oh,
First and second grade.
Kraken camp. I would send him to Kraken camp. You get your tail to Kraken camp, or there'll be no coal in your stocking this year.
The irony is that we have a bar here called the Kraken.
Yeah, which we definitely almost never
camp.
set foot in.
Definitely not. We should have an adult camp at the Kraken camp. That would be fun.
Yeah, darts, pool, live music, bonfires.
Nothing else. Oh, if there's a bonfire there, I really had too much to drink that night because I don't remember bonfires.
Oh, there's bonfires. Teacher retreat this year at the Kraken in North Carolina. What city would you say that's in? Saxopol?
No. Carborough.
Between Carborough and Saxopol. We'll meet y'all at the Kraken. Teacher podcast retreat. Podcast retreat. I thought about how great would it be if we hosted a podcast retreat of all our previous guests. Could you imagine that?
That would be so much fun.
And by the way,
We know where we're going.
Will you host? As in your
Will
house?
I? Don't put that on me. You know I'd say yes.
Dane Beck's in there. Lucy Castle's in there. Oracle Araya's in there. Oral and Cheryl Murphy's in there. Connor Flynn's up in there. He'd probably stay in your backyard.
He could certainly explain the whole skunky smell thing.
Skunk ape.
You know, why does cannabis smell like skunks? I'm sure he has a whole theory on that.
I will give the Twisted Teachers one quick preview before we go of one of my favorite teacher movies. I'll probably eliminate it from my countdown, but one of my favorite teacher movies just tells you how great my time as a K through 12 teacher was. I'm now a professor in college. As many Hail Marys I have to do thanking baby Jesus for that. But this just tells you a lot about my mental frame of mind during my K through 12 teaching days. My favorite movie, one of my favorites, was called The Substitute. Did you ever see that, CJ?
Probably not.
So essentially it's about this dude, right? He's a substitute teacher, and all of a sudden he's got like crossbow, and he's just like taking out the worst of his students.
God.
100 yards away, pow. Like, Pedro's absent. Wonder what happened to him. Well, I don't know, but his seat's open. Looks like it's yours.
This
Stay
is
out of
clearly
trouble.
some sort of thriller movie, or
He was doing
your
what the Board of
average comedy.
Education never could. Yeah.
Must
feel
have been
good.
a charter school.
You feel
Just
good.
remove 'em.
Teacher movie.
Yeah.
Well, I had a
on
lot
that
of fun
lovely
tonight.
note.
We appreciate the Twisted Teachers and everybody else tuning in.
Yeah.
And, oh yeah, she says, OMG sounds like a movie to discuss. It certainly is. I cannot remember who was in it, but my brain says it was Kurt Russell. But I know that it
We
was
don't
not
ever
Kurt
trust your
Russell.
brain this late at night. No.
Give me 1 second, CJ. I just
Oh,
feel,
we're not going
I'm
to
gonna
give
look
you
it up.
1 second.
Oh, come on. The Substitute. It's our show, and we'll give us 1 second if we want to. Oh, here it is. Tom Berenger. Oh, yeah. That's a classic. So he's a retired special ops person who goes undercover as a substitute teacher at a school that is being ravaged by a gang, and he takes matters into his own hands with lethal force.
Wow.
I may or may
Dreams really
not
do
have
come
used
true.
to had like dreams of scenes from that movie. Like,
Teaching is tough. It's tough.
somebody pulls out a butterfly knife in my class today. I've already visualized what I'm going to do. Oh, I have a few boundaries about movies, except the banjo one. I can't think of the name. The banjo is literally filmed in Smitty's backyard. That is called Deliverance.
Oh.
Was that a... Ba-da-bum-bum-bum. Ba-da-dum-bum-bum-bum-bum-bum. On that note,
Dang, 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 dang.
you got some pretty teeth, boy.
It is time for us to call it. We have gone off the deep end.
See y'all. Thanks for tuning in.
Good
Stay
night.
unexplained and keep listening to podcasts like ours. That's what Smitty would say.
Or just ours. And Twisted Teacher.
She said, yes, not just a whitewater rafting movie like my friend told me. You got... I don't think any of it's really about whitewater rafting, but anyways. Good night, everybody.
Good night. You've been listening to All Things Unexplained. If you liked this podcast, please do give us a 5-star rating and leave us a review. If you would like to hear more All Things Unexplained, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to your podcasts. Our show depends on the support of listeners like you. To help keep us going, please be sure to visit patreon.com/allthingsunexplained. Our Patreon patrons get early access to podcasts, as well as exclusive audio and video clips. Or you can find us on Venmo under the business accounts. Just look for @Bigfoot UFO. Additionally, you can support us at buymeacoffee.com/unexplained. If you can't get enough of us, go ahead and check us out at allthings-unexplained.com. A special thanks to our producer, director, sound mixer, editor, and the man who wears far too many hats. No, seriously, he wears a lot of hats. Dr. Tim Mounts. Without you, we couldn't keep the lights on. Thanks for listening to All Things Unexplained.